All right, how about now? I bet you guys can hear me now. Just give it a second. It'll process. Totally off kilter. I actually didn't mean to do this from this YouTube channel, but I also run it. So hello. Now you're putting there's a face behind the just thing that has evolved out. I'm Noah. I run a podcast called Synchronicity. It's on the MindPod network. No, George. I see you in the chat. There's sound. It will happen. I promise you. Volume is low. Really? I can turn it up. I can definitely turn it up. Hold on. Getting the feedback. No, I mean, okay. I'll turn it up more. How about now? That's got to be better. Clearly. Thank you for the feedback, guys. Haven't done this before. I meant to do this on my YouTube channel, Noah Lampert. This is not some like intentional ploy where I by accident did something but really meant to do it. I also run this channel, MindPod Network. I hope you've been enjoying a lot of the mainly P. Hall talks and the Neville Goddard talks. MindPod Network is a podcast network that has a lot of different voices. I'm one of them. If you're interested in this type of stuff but want to hear it on a more weekly and contemporary basis, go check out a lot of the things on MindPod Network. So their podcasts, they're there. You might see that it's the collective reading October 28th. So I usually do these on Instagram. And I guess I'm doing it on my MindPod Network's YouTube. So I do tarot and astrology. I've recently got into it. Anyone who knows anything about me knows that I am a firm proponent that your imagination creates reality. So much like Neville Goddard, this is my reality. And I have found techniques that show that we can empirically prove that this is how everything works. And as I've discovered that, and you can go listen to my podcast if you're interested in that type of shit, I'm not going to overwhelm you with it. I've really got into the tarot and divinatory stuff and astrology. So this reading is for this week, and we have a lot of vibes going on for Halloween and Scorpio season. There was a new moon in Scorpio, and yeah, there's just a lot of energy going on around that. So I pulled some cards, a few times a week, and for this week we got a very interesting spread. So the first card I pulled in the tarot, I gotta make sure I can see these right, so just bear with me. I really didn't expect to be doing this today on this channel. So here's the King of Cups. We're going to look at them. So I got them reversed. I use reversals. Some people don't. The King of Cups. So one of the cool things about tarot is we can use color to get a real interesting sense of what's going on, not only for these cards, but in the world around us too, right? They tell us a lot about everything. So color, right? What does color tell us on the King of Cups? Well, cups, in case people don't know, in tarot, there are 4 suits. Cups is one of them. It's water. Fire is another. That's wands. So there's wands, fire, cups, water. There's pentacles. That's earth. And then there's swords. That's air. And they're all associated with different qualities. But the King of Cups sits on his throne in the sea. How cool is that? You can see behind him there's a ship, a red ship. But he's literally like on this throne in the sea. And that's pretty badass. And he sits there firmly planted with a cup in one hand and this rod in the other hand, and he's very comfortable, as you can tell from the expression on his face. It's pretty cool. Like, he's relaxed, he's with it, and he's literally on the waters of the unconscious, right? This is his natural domain. So the blue robe also indicates his intuition and his feeling. And in case people don't know, if you want to know how to prove imagination creates reality, your feeling is actually what does it. So whatever you feel to be true is what you believe, and that's what unfolds in your world. So this King of Cups is that personified. He also wears this cloak of yellow, and there's a red kind of scarf tied around it. Yellow is the creative intellect, and red is passion. And so those things he also adorns himself with, including what's on his mind, which is this golden crown with like rubies in it. So we again see the creative intellect and passion kind of guiding him. We also see a red ship in the background, And that is the passion moving across the waters of the unconscious. And green shoes, Mr. Green Shoes. Green is growth. It means there's opportunity for growth. So that is what he's supported by. Now we have this here, right? So we got these unconscious waters essentially raining down, raining down. And this is where we are right now. In case you haven't noticed, this has been a weird week. I'm recording this, October 28th, 2019. There's a flood going on. It's not a literal flood, but it's an unconscious flood. There's psychic waters everywhere, and they're raining down on everyone. And if you know what that means, you can navigate them. But if you don't, it probably feels like a very transformative, almost void-like existence right now. And like we're moving from one thing going into another. So like I'm trying to find, do I have stones that could highlight this? No, I'm not going to do it right now. Yes, I am. Okay, here we go. All right, so here's the world as we know it, right? This world, it's like the weatherman thing, so you just got to bear with me while I move. So the world is moving like this, and then all of a sudden we have a new world. All right, and so where we are right now, how do we fucking do this? This is way harder. Where we are now is like here. Okay, so the new world is actually what we're moving. I want to replace these. Okay. This is our old world. Jeez, this is actually really difficult to do with the camera. Okay. New world, old world, new world. New world is coming. Old world is going. This is where we are. This is literally the worst. YouTube Live. But anyway, they're overlapping each other, and it's freaking people out. And I understand why it's freaking people out, because it's a scary thing to be going through. It's like, especially if you're used to kind of 3D reality working a certain way, and all of a sudden shit's getting real weird, and you're imagining things, and it's like, what's going on? I get it. These waters are raining down on you. So this is our first cut. This is our first position, is that we're in the void right now. What we imagine quite literally comes true, and it unfolds at a degree that's probably freaking a lot of people out. So then we have our second card. Okay. Six of Pentacles. It's been coming up a lot. This is this balancing. We see a man, a merchant, in the Pentacles, in the red robe with white underneath it. White is purity, authenticity, right? And he's doling out what looks like food sometimes, but it's actually coin. So Pentacles are wealth. Pentacles are earth energy. It is the financial wealth, but not just material wealth, psychological wealth, spiritual wealth, emotional wealth, all of these things. So we see the Pentacles. We see them, this balancing, the Libra scales, right? Libra, Venus rules Libra astrologically. I'm trying to just get this so the glare isn't there. Sorry about that if I'm tilting it. And we see he is giving these coins. He again has the green shoes. Room for growth here in terms of who to give stuff to. But we see the person who is getting these coins first is the creative intellect, right? That yellow. We see the blue, and there's a little red pocket square there too. But the blue, the intuition, the feeling is waiting its turn patiently. And he will get his coins. It's not that he's not getting it. But these are the Libra scales of justice doling it out. And this is the passion that guides, feeding the creativity, the intellect, creative intellect, and then will feed the passion and feeling. So what this again is this is here's our first card that helps with these psychic waters that are raining down on us, right? We need to learn how to balance a lot of different things right now. One of them is our masculine and feminine energies. The other is this balance between our feelings and what we want to express out in the world. And to the degree that we can do that and trust that we can do that, we will find this type of energy, which is very harmonious, very harmonious. This will be expressing itself in our world. So this is, this is an internal process. Everything on these cards is you. When I'm talking about doing a collective reading like this, it's because this is what's coming up for most people. Something very interesting is going on right now. There's this big shift happening collectively, but we're experiencing it we are experiencing it individually. So it feels like it's just happening to us. But then when you start to talk to other people, they're like, oh yeah, I get what you're talking about now. This makes a lot of sense. But this is something that Everyone is going through, whether they recognize it or not, but to the degree that you can find this internal balance. And that's when you know, even if things are difficult outside of you, you'll know if you're on the right track because you'll feel this inner sense of stability and equanimity. Okay. So I'll show these in position. And if you go to the Instagram, you'll see how they were actually drawn. But then our third card is this. Okay. And I think I actually pulled it in the reverse position. I don't know how it showed up in the Instagram. So this is the Eight of Swords, right? Classic Eight of Swords. So again, swords are air energy. This is clarity. She doesn't seem like she has a lot of clarity, does she? We see a woman bound very loosely, I'd like to point out, in these white kind of bondage. It's like not very tight. It's not like a straight jacket, okay? And she's also blindfolded. And by white blindfold, so this is like the authentic, this is like purity. And it's kind of like bounding her in a constrictive way. This is kind of a tenuous position. There's all these swords around her. But if she just took these off, right, it's not hard to get out of that. And we see orange, right? That's the balance of, that's orange and is red and yellow, right? So that's the creative intellect and passion, again, being harmonized there. So that's the progression from this one, right, to this one. And this is this balance, but if she just took this stuff off, she'd see it's really not that dangerous. I'm a bad weatherman. It's hard for me to intuitively do this. But she would see that it's not that dangerous. She's left her home, okay? She's left her home. It's in the distance. She's already made that decision. So have you. But she needs to take these off. And she needs to find the clarity in how to do that. So how do we do that, right? It'd just be kind of lame if I left you here with, this is what's going on. Good luck. We do that with this. This is what I pulled. Compassion. Compassion is a tough one because compassion can be misinterpreted. We can be what Chogyam Trungpa in the Tibetan tradition called idiot compassion. And this is the idea that we need to help other people because that will make us whole or feel better. Or we're going to get something from it, or it's the right thing to do. And that's certainly a great reason. All of those are decent reasons to help people, but real compassion is when you love yourself unconditionally first, you accept yourself unconditionally first, and you forgive yourself unconditionally first. Because if you can't do that, the chances that you will be able to extend that to someone else, very slim. Not bloody likely. It's not going to happen because you're not familiar with forgiving yourself. So how are you going to forgive other people? So that's incredibly important to remember. And compassion, that's where it comes in to play. Like, have compassion for yourself, then extend it to the world, but do not let it consume you. If it makes you feel weak or drained or have less energy, that's not real compassion. That's kind of a game you're playing with yourself. And again, like, this is the energies of this week. What I'm pulling these cards for, culminating in Halloween, there's going to be a lot of fear with this upside down King of Cups. This is the King of Vessels, the King of Cups, the psychic waters raining down on all of us. It's like a flood, all right? And that's a tough energy if you're not familiar with it. Luckily, you're tuning in here. If you're tuning in here, you probably have some idea what I'm talking about, I hope. If not, sorry. That's a tough energy. We know that we're looking for balance amidst that. But if you're just floundering around, like, think of like you're drowning in psychic waters. You're just like grasping for anything. Why is the world working like this? How do I control it? Why do things happen to me? Well, they happen. All right, now I'll break it down. We'll just do it since I did the MindPod Network thing by accident. Okay, your imagination creates reality. Don't take my word for it. Empirically, prove it to yourself. The way you do that is we use these techniques to delineate and create a scene as we're going to sleep at night or in any meditative, or it just doesn't have to be holy. You can do whatever you want. Just like some state in between going to sleep, and you are going to construct a scene. First, you find a desire. You find a wish. You find something you very much want in this life, and you know that you want it. As you find this, you're going to construct a scene as you're going to sleep at night, a very short and compact scene that implies that wish has already been fulfilled. So, for instance, if I wanted a job and I worked at a 9 to 5, I would imagine someone shaking my hand and saying, congratulations on the job, or promotion. If I wanted a promotion, congratulations on the promotion. And I would give this scene as much sensory vividness as this world. and it would give it the feeling of having that job. And anytime your mind wanders, is snap back into it. Just snap back to that scene, that short, compact scene. Do that at night and see what happens. Just keep doing that for whatever it is in your life. The secret is the feeling, having the feeling of the thing already accomplished. Live from that space. Don't think of something you don't have. You have everything you've ever wanted. If you don't feel like you do, that's why you don't. Once you do this and prove it to yourself empirically, you have all of the tools to achieve whatever you want. I know it sounds crazy if you're not familiar with it, but as you start testing it, if you don't push it away or get weird about it, you'll find that this is actually true. So that's the balance we want. And then here, I know if you're here, I get it, right? I totally get it. But the invitation here is to take off the blindfold, even in the reverse position. Just take off the blindfold. If you have the clarity to do that now, great. I think it came up reverse, so you may be looking for that clarity. Here's the clarity. Just do it. Just prove it to yourself. Just do it. Take this off. See that you can easily cross this. Should we pull some other cards to get a little more? I can sense we want a little bit more. Let's pull Threads of Fate Oracle. Okay. Yeah. All right, so trust. I mean, there's a butterfly, there's transformation. This is what it's about right now. You trust yourself first. Don't trust me. Don't trust anyone. Don't trust someone who seems like they have it all figured out. They might. There's a lot of people who have it figured out. I have a lot of my stuff together, like almost all of it. I feel great almost all of the time. And I'm helping a lot of other people. However, prove it to yourself. Prove it to yourself that this is how everything works. Try the techniques, try whatever you need. Prove to yourself that the way you feel and the way you believe your world to be is in fact how that world is. Facts. I don't know what else to say about that. Do we want to get a couple more? Because I sense that we do. Get curious. I mean, that's the mindset that we want to keep, right? That's that playfulness, that engaging with things that maybe don't make a lot of sense logically. The reason one wouldn't want to believe that this is the way the world works. A, our senses completely deny this. It's just not how things work in the world. B, the amount of responsibility that then falls on you is everything in the world because you're creating, sustaining everything. So that's a big concept that the ego, not even the ego, just the logical and analytical mind does not want to deal with typically. But just that's why you test it out. Test it out with small stuff. Test it out with big stuff. It doesn't matter. It always works. So yeah, do we need any other ones? Do we need an Alchemical Tarot? I think we do. Okay. What do we have there? The Four of Wands, of course. Okay, so this is the Alchemical Tarot. Robert M. Place created this deck. I'm glad it wasn't like a pornographic one because there are some that like that. Like they're in the middle of these four wands. This fire is movement, it's energy, it's passion. This is the union of the divine masculine and the divine feminine, okay? The divine masculine is the conscious mind. This is one way it manifests. It's objective, it's personal, it's selective, it's aware of a desire. The unconscious is feminine, it's impersonal, it's non-selective. It really doesn't know right or wrong, not because it's bad, but because it just receives things and delivers them. So a desire comes up. I want that. We use the imaginal techniques or something else to deliver it to our feminine, unconscious mind. It receives it and delivers it. This is literally how everything works all of the time. I'm not speculating. These are facts. So an instance of this, let's say you find yourself, you're unhappy or you're depressed or you're stuck or you don't have money. You need money. That's a big thing for a lot of people. I see it in the comments, the way the people react to the ads. There are ad blockers if you're really that upset about it. But if you try to get to the problem, fix the problem from this world, from the situations, you're not going to really feel the change. So what you do, here's like what the feminine, so you go, let's say you don't like being poor. So you go, I don't want to be poor. Your feminine unconscious mind just hears poor. It doesn't know right or wrong. So what you do is you say, I feel rich. And you construct a scene and he says rich. And you say, no, this sounds crazy. This is not how things work. This is delusional. You might even be saying, hey, you're just a white dude. This is how you get ahead in life because, you believe shit like this. Just try it out. Prove me wrong. That's the whole point of all of this stuff. Don't take my word for it. Prove me wrong. Construct these scenes. Start impregnating your feminine unconscious mind with these conscious desires in this way and see what happens in your life. Seriously, that's all. That's the only invitation that is extended here for you to do. I'm not trying to convince anyone. I'm not trying to push anyone towards anything. It makes no difference to me at this point, whether people believe what I'm saying or not. I'm doing this because it's fun and I love it and this is what I choose to do. I didn't even mean to do this on my pod network. This whole channel blew up out of nowhere. I don't even know why I did digital marketing for like 10 years. It makes no sense. It was just out of nowhere. And I guess that people wanted these talks that were coming up. And then today, I, by accident did this, and now I'm on here yakking about this stuff. So the point is if you're watching this and you're tuning in, this is a deep part of you. Your unconscious has laid out these scenarios, right, for you to get into this situation and understand this stuff. And you're really trying hard right now because this is an intense period of, karmic purification. We're getting that karmic balance down to zero because we're about ready to create the world we want to create. I know this sounds new agey and weird, and go listen to my podcast. It's actually gotten pretty weird, but I'm aware. I'm a regular person. I'm watching the Dolphins tonight. They're going to win. I know people don't believe that. They're a terrible team. They're going to beat the Steelers tonight. Monday Night Football. You heard it here first. Dare to dream, baby. Dream, baby, dream. That's all it is. See that ruby clutched in the claw? Just dream. That's all it is. This is a dream. Have you realized that yet? This is a lucid dream. I don't mean that conceptually or intellectually. Prove it to yourself. Wake up into it, and you'll see that not only do you have the ability to control the dream, but you have the ability to be completely fulfilled and aware of who you are deep down inside as you, and still be, you can be the big I, like the Rastafarians say, right? I don't think I'm allowed to make certain references on YouTube that I could on Instagram. There's the big I and the little I and I, right? There's the big I, that's everything. Source, God, Buddha, Krishna, Jesus Christ, everything. Then there's the little I, which is Noah, Todd, Julia, Rob, Dean, Philip. Doesn't matter who you are. That's how we live in life. And things are getting weird. Just be aware, like Neville Goddard said, if you're watching these videos, you may have listened to him, your mental diet, what you're allowing in will quite literally unfold in your world. So to the degree you can recognize that, just let good stuff in. Use this imaginative power lovingly. That's so important. You don't have to, but if you do, it's good for you for a lot of reasons. And I've covered that on my podcast. In case anyone is wondering, this is not meant to be an ad for my podcast. But it is Synchronicity. You can check that out. Go check out a lot of the other podcasts on my pod network while I have you here. That's what it started as, in case people are wondering what this is. There's a lot of different podcasts. I think we started it in 2014. It's evolved since then. Who hasn't, right? Jeez. Yeah, that's it. The veil is thin. It is so thin right now. It is so thin. You can penetrate it. You can believe whatever you want to believe because that, in fact, is true. Stable imaginal acts create reality, okay? So that means things that people collectively believe in very strongly, they're pretty stable. It doesn't mean you can't get around them. It just means for your own practical purposes, believe what you want to believe. Make sure it's what you actually want to believe. Make sure it's serving you. Make sure you're able to kind of get rid of the stuff you don't want that's holding you back, that's tethering you to this world. So let's go one more card. The moon. All right, baby. So the moon, okay, there are three luminaries in the Rider-Waite in the traditional tarot. What I mean by luminaries, there's the sun, the moon, and the star. All right. The moon is reflective light. It reflects the light of the sun. It's the intuitive. It's the unconscious rather. This is what we're talking about for the unconscious mind. Feel your feelings. Move towards your fears. As your fears arise, move towards them. Be very careful. I'm saying this specifically for YouTube people who are watching this and are this far. Do not judge other people. Just trust me. it's not worth your time. Recognize and be discerning when people are doing things that you don't think maybe are right, but don't judge them for it. It's a Chinese finger trap. You'll get stuck with that person until you recognize it's you. So really try hard not to do that. I know that's a big karmic knot for a lot of people. We get stuck in just judging and judging and judging, and it's really easy and it's subtle sometimes and sometimes it's obvious, but just trust me, don't do it. The law of reversibility, if I imagine something for you and you're not capable of imagining it for yourself or another person, it bounces off of you and hits me. This is why you want to use it lovingly. If you're using it lovingly and I wish something great for you and you can't accept it, it comes back to me and I get it. If I wish something terrible for you and you can't accept it, it bounces back and hits me. So be aware of that principle in your life. Just be aware of it. Okay, who farted? That was me. Nice. I like that we're getting into the YouTube vibe of things now. We need more fart jokes, more, we need that. I can't say certain things on this, I'm pretty sure. Anyway, I think that's our collective reading for today. We'll cut it there. I'll do more of these mainly over on my channel, YouTube. What is it? Noah Lampert, my name. Had to think about my name. It's that type of day. We're in the void. That's it, guys. Hang in there. Have a fun Halloween week. Everything is great. There's free will and there's destiny, right? The only thing that's not up to you is that you will wake up to who you actually are. The ways, the means, the circumstances, and the situations are completely up to you. So that's pretty fun. That's it. And I will see you soon. Bye-bye.